Hello, everybody. We're the Geeks and Degenerates, and look who's back. Nina's back.
Hi,
What
long time no see.
Yeah, us trying to adult kind of guy in the way of filming.
Or is
Yeah.
it I have run away from the clutches of capitalism for a little bit longer. The corporate slave
Do you roll
lifestyle.
your own cigarettes?
What does that have to do with anything? What?
Yeah, you're not conforming to the norms of society.
Since when did conforming to the norms include?
No, because this is like Timothy Chalamet's character in this stupid
That's
fucking
true.
movie.
I was like, what do you mean? I was like, that's awfully random of you.
I'll get to it later.
Oh,
But yeah.
sure. Good to know.
As you see in the thumbnail and the description of the video, we are doing Ladybird to close out the week of going back to school for us Geeks and Degenerates, I guess.
Oh yeah, school. Sad. Wala, I just thought about that.
Yeah.
Even though, like,
I love
only
how-
one of us now are finished or are
I love-
finishing.
I love how I'm a dropout, Enzo graduated, you're near graduation.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm the closest thing to like
School.
being a student coming back, right? But practically my classes haven't even started.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
go.
But yeah, this one stars Saoirse Ronan and is directed by Greta Gerwig, and stars a lot of famous people nowadays, like Lucas Hedges, Timothy Chalamet, and like I forgot the other kid's name. The girl who's supposed to be Cassie Lang, but
Merrily
Catherine Newton. There we go. It finally came out.
Who? What? Who?
Catherine Newton.
Catherine Newton.
Yeah, she has a small role. She has like
Uh,
glasses and shit.
Oh
I
yeah, I
understand.
knew. Yeah, I recognized her face. I was like, who is this?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
of course-
oh, okay,
Yeah.
understood how. Okay, understood.
Yeah.
Oh, she was in Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Uh,
Anyway,
okay.
Yeah, and this follows Ladybird as she is on the last stages of high school and she's trying to apply for colleges, and her relationship with her parents, well, her mom at least, isn't the best.
yeah.
The it is very odd. Sorry, I just really couldn't handle this movie.
No, I realize a lot of it's a very difficult movie for people that. It's a difficult movie. It really is. Like for a coming of age movie, I think this was the first one that in my life, when it came to a coming of age movie, wasn't easy to watch because a lot of the time these kinds of movies kind of focus on a lot of, at least in my experience, have focused on a lot of men, like boys.
Yeah.
Like if you think about
Yeah.
like things like Perks of Being a Wallflower, go to
Yeah.
other big ones. Like the only other one I can think of is Edge of 17, which is Haley Steinfeld's one.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Like
haven't
the
seen
one,
that one.
but that one's more comedy. This one is really like drama, and it's like I don't know if you guys can relate to this the way I can, because
I
it is
bet you I
very
can't.
much. It's very much mother-daughter. I mean, it's so clear.
Mm.
It's very much a mother-daughter issue, and like, it's hard because the first thing I thought of was, dude, as a Filipino, I don't think I could do this. I don't think I could like get away with this.
Like how she talks back to her mom and
Yeah, like I know I fought with my mom before, and like
Yeah.
it has gotten to very extreme points. Like I'm not gonna lie, the scene where she jumps out of the car, I almost did that as a kid. Like when I was younger, when I was her age. So I mean, I totally 100% found some very deep relations to this,
relatability to this. Yeah.
but not in the way that like some of it was there, some of it was very like grating.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
guys go ahead first because I have a lot of thoughts. That's why I really wanted to come back for Ladybird at the very least.
Yeah,
Alright.
like her struggle is like she wants to get out of this Sacramento and move to the east, to New York at least, and yeah, that rhymes.
This is
As in-
one thing I
Younger.
don't understand. When you see Sacramento, I was like, this place
not that
looks
bad, right?
great.
Right?
What are you asking? You want to go to New York? And this was like the height of 9/11. I was like, and she wants to have like
Height of 9/11.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
2002.
Oh yeah,
it was-
no, I know it was. I was just like height of it. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
like-
been a while after, but yeah, I understand that sentiment. Na parang okay, it's still New
Yeah.
York, only a year after a very traumatic
Yeah,
it was
terrorist
pretty big.
attack. Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, understood.
And like she was like, I want my life to, like, she kind of wants an adventure out of her life. Well, it's like, why can't you have it in Sacramento? Like, haven't you seen it or something? Find
Haven't
something. Find something
What do you-
creepy in the woods. I don't know.
It's probably a California thing. Like, if you're from California, please comment below if you can relate to Ladybird.
Like, do you hate where you live? Actually, I know a lot of like YouTubers or streamers who hate California. I'm like,
Yeah, but it's LA they're thinking of, not
yeah,
California.
not
Yeah.
Sacramento. Like,
You're thinking of Trash Taste talking about LA, aren't you?
yeah, it was Michael Reeves.
I knew it. I was like, you're thinking about them talking about LA.
Yeah,
She also wants to
Fitting.
leave because her family's not in the best situation. Like, they
Yeah.
have a house and they have food on the table, but like financially speaking, her dad doesn't have a job anymore, and her mom's like a nurse.
working 2 jobs just to
Yeah.
provide for the family. I
Yeah.
really relate to the dad, a little bit to the mom. The mom is very unreasonable sometimes. Like,
No, yeah.
whoa,
Yeah.
like that was very uncalled for.
Yeah, like what she says in the car, and why the reason why she jumps out, and
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that was a bitch move. Not gonna lie, that was
Yeah.
a bitch move from the mom. I'm like, I would have jumped out of the car too if I heard that. I was like,
yeah, I know. Like, a big part of, I mean, obviously, my mom and I did not have this bad. Like, we weren't very outwardly. See, that's the thing, is like, I think this is one of my experiences, like with the first movie that really talked about mother daughter child, like mother child dynamic, especially like being a daughter.
Yeah.
It's different because they're white too, but you know, it's the still kind of same thing. It's like class struggle,
Yeah.
like a whole deal about like cause there's just a lot of thoughts into it, but it's just like a part of me is like, dude, I would like, my mom would be my 13th reason why if she was my mom.
All right.
You know,
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
she'd be my 13th reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And God, what was
Uh,
happening to her in school?
Like, she wants to
Like
move
she was in
on.
the theater thing.
Yeah, she wants to move on because it's like a Catholic school. Like, I want to go somewhere.
I mean,
that's
same
not-
though.
Yeah. I'm like, out of all the things in this movie, I can relate to this the most.
No, I gotta say, this school wasn't that bad.
No, the school was actually surprisingly not as bad as I was expecting.
Yeah.
Like, it was like the sketchiest shit I've heard is from the students, not the nuns
Actually,
and
agreed.
yeah,
the priests. I was like, wow.
Like, they're open enough. Like, the father, the older priest can hold a play, and he's like, I don't know, priest could like be okay with this, but all right, sure.
Yeah,
Do you.
this guy was very passionate. I love this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, he's like doing this group things. Like, the first one to cry wins or loses, and he starts crying. Like, that guy has issues. Poor guy.
Oh, for sure,
Yeah.
sure. Like that was the point where like, whoa. And when they do the play, and people are like, "Oh, you did great,
Yeah.
and you see him at the side, he's like, "They didn't get it."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Damn,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry."
Yeah, it's a, but you know, I mean, to really expect high art from theater, like a high school theater, Catholic school. I mean, like, you know, it's asking for a lot out of it.
Yeah, try Lady Bird's strategy. Go to New York.
Yeah, I guess like I think like there's a lot of layers to this movie that are very difficult to see at first, because a lot of what we see, because like I was reading through some reviews because I was trying to think like, did I really like this movie? Because like I'd watched it when I was younger and I was trying to see if it held up now, especially since I'm a lot older, past high school, very much past high school. And the thing is that like it's so hard to see through the exterior of like everyone being so mean to each other, because I think we're not used to that, because there's a lot of like empathy that comes with us, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think growing up, like you, me, and so, because you know we grew up so long with each other, like there was a lot of empathy towards each other, like, and we grew up with a lot of awkward stuff, but we were never this outwardly mean, right?
No, like
And especially the part where she was screaming at her friend, she's like, she made one bad decision.
she made two bad
I
decisions.
do that decision. I was like,
I
ah!
love- That was like the best
That was the
dialogue
best and the
I've heard.
worst part. That was the best and the worst part I've ever seen.
I laughed so hard. Sorry, there's so many scenes here that I laughed so hard because it was clearly 2002/2003 where they're listening to Dave Matthews and they're like crash into me. I was like, oh, I'm dying of laughter. I was like, fuck, this was me.
this was. I mean, to a certain,
Yeah.
even though we were like what 4 years old.
No, but like
2003.
when I was like in my teen
Yeah,
years,
when you were growing up,
Mm.
yeah.
I listened to a lot of Dave Matthews.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like what I liked about this movie was how it really didn't stray away from. It wasn't particularly romanticized because it still felt very like you don't want to be. Like I think a lot of us when we were watching it said we don't want this. Like, but
I
a part of
really
us was like.
don't.
But a part of us was also like we had something very similar to like the awkward like
Yeah,
sexual
yeah.
experience or like the Joma.
I'm sorry, no, because there's a scene here in this movie that made me laugh so hard.
Which one is it?
It was true, where he was like, "Do you want to touch my boobs?" And he was like, "No, because I respect you too." And I was like, you know, if you had boobs, I won't touch it either. I respect you so hard. I was like, this is...
But if you think about that, like a lot of us thought of things that way when we were growing up, and that's
We
the
did.
worst part. We relate
That's
to
why-
that.
That's why it's so fucking funny. I would say they did this on purpose. I'll give A24 this if this was on purpose, where they make the cringy teenager bullshit like changing my name to Ladybird.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
exactly.
like just to have like this true only view fucking delusional life that you want, that you are the main character.
Yeah, exactly. It's giving this movie is entirely just Ladybird believing she is main character energy.
And
Yeah.
the fact that like she goes through this movie finally feeling like I am not the main character.
Right?
And
Yeah,
that's what I
exactly.
like. She does get a life lesson which is a coming of age where you are not the main character. World does
Yeah.
not revolve around you.
Yeah,
Like-
exactly.
The things that she wants to happen to her are happening to somebody else.
Yeah.
And she's just at the sidelines staring like, oh.
Why didn't her mom
You-
want her to go to a bigger college again? Like,
Because it was expensive and they couldn't afford it.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
least
Mm.
mom didn't believe they could afford it, but didn't realize that, Ladybird's dad would help, and then they filed for financial aid at a time where financial aid was could still afford to give you things.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
She
And I go on.
No, yeah, I'm just saying, yeah.
She applies
Oh, yeah.
behind her mom's back and she gets waitlisted. Her mom's
Yeah,
at
yeah.
that time.
I'll give it this. The dad, probably one of the best dads in cinema.
Do you recognize him?
Truly, I
Where was he from?
Don't worry. He's from Ford vs. Ferrari.
Ah! It's the Deuce.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
god, I forgot.
Yeah.
You were such a great dad, but such a horrible CEO.
Right? But like, you find out like he's the soft parent and the mom's,
The stern,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think kasi what's interesting though about what I really like is that they really didn't shy away from the awkwardness of teenagehood, but also like nobody felt perfect to me in a way that like to a certain extent I understand that because I do see like Ladybird's mom. I know a mom who is very much like that to her own daughter. In the way that like they are very tough on each other, but that's all she knows how to be. Like it's very surprisingly very motherly of them where
Yeah.
it's like, and especially if you think about it, the mom is in a very, very high pressure situation. Everything in their whole lives clings to her having a job.
Yes.
Her daughter's education, their house, everything, like food, ganon. And like she can't help it if that her husband can't help because right now he can't get a job and he's depressed, and that's okay. But also like it's a very high pressure situation. So
Yeah.
I understand the mom in the way that she cannot give as much grace. And for her daughter to, at times, be genuinely very selfish because that's what teenagers are. That's what kids are.
Yes.
When you are raised, that's all you know. You only know about yourself. You don't understand how heavy responsibility can be. You want things in your life because you don't know when you'll get them. You're not old enough to know that things will come at a certain point, right? So everyone is in a situation, like a big part of this besides just teenagehood is just like, I don't know if you guys understand what it means to be on the other side of the tracks, like in contexts in media.
Like, is it okay? I'm just guessing
Yeah,
here.
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I'm
Like
asking.
you're at the poorer side of the town.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's
Alright.
what it means to be on the other side of the tracks, Like it's just one, and it means a lot because when you're it's a really big part of this is that she can't afford prom dresses that are new. She has to go to the thrift
The
store,
thrift
right?
store,
Like,
yeah.
and it's hard because she is surrounded by everyone else who gets things. It's not just in like symbolic teenage things like getting a boyfriend or getting blah blah blah, these things. It's also monetary, like physical things. Like she is surrounded by people who are wealthy and she
Yeah.
doesn't get that. And
And,
I admit that I was like that too in high school. I went to a school that no Enzo and I know
yeah.
that
Yeah.
is very rich, and I wasn't as rich as a lot of these kids. I mean, I
Uh,
wasn't entitled, but I was just
I'll give
definitely
it.
like,
I'll give
whoa.
it this. Like you could tell their situation when the dad's like, "We'll get Doritos, but just don't tell your mom." Like that's how bad their situation was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That simple pleasures to us was hard for them. Like it's a treasure to them.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Oh, I was
things
like, I
that would
get
be easy for us, right? Like, oh, let's just go to the grocery store or buy Doritos, eat it whenever,
Yeah.
right? But to them, it's like a really big thing because it's like it's really these small things to them are something they treasure, and it's why like it's so hard to watch also for me, and it makes me so emotional because you really feel the tension and like the whole thing where your mom, holy crap, this is like mommy issues the movie too. Like I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but it's mommy issues the movie for a lot of people I know and me.
Mm.
I mean, not now anymore with my mom. Not that it was ever that bad anyway, but like when
Yeah.
your mom wouldn't talk to you because of how
Mm.
badly that you disappointed her because she doesn't know how else to like she
Yeah.
doesn't know how else to kind of
React.
verbalize, react, you
that
know, like
that scene was hard to watch because I'm like I've
No,
been there.
plus you gotta see the mom's point of view, or like
Yeah.
it's horrible. What she's doing is horrible. Her pretty much downgrading her daughter, or like pretty much talking down to her daughter, and like dismissing what she likes, and she's like she has an opinion about it. That's all horrible. But she does mention that what was your mom like? She was an alcoholic,
Yeah.
Yeah,
an
exactly.
abusive alcoholic, and I was like, whoa. So you kind of get where she's coming from and why she's like this is the only thing she knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I that's why I like the complexity of the mom.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I
And
agree.
while Lady Bird kind of just felt like an angsty teen who thought she knew everything, but of course she doesn't.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's hard to relate now that we're older, but like, or I don't know, none of us really went through painfully angsty portions of our lives. Like maybe a little bit where we were like, I know everything, but like
I was
not
incredibly
angsty
shy.
that way.
No, now I'm at that age. I'm like, shut the fuck up, you bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Because like a part of me like sees that, and I'm like, well, it's kind of tough because it's really like you know, it's the kind of thing where I don't blame her to a certain extent because she is a teenager. It
Yeah.
is she does not know anything. You know, teenagers believe they know everything the moment they hit a certain age point, and like you know, it takes a long while for people to realize like, oh, I don't. You know,
Yeah.
like I'm going through a lot of things, but you don't know how to get better until you're completely out of it, right?
I will give it this. I really hated Timothy Chalamet in this movie.
I
Before we
think that's
get
the
to that-
point. I really
Yeah.
believe that was the point.
I'm like, bravo, because I've met people like this.
Before we get to that,
True.
I like how the first half is like Lady Bird and her BFF, and it's going along her relationship with Lucas Hedges. And, like,
Yeah,
it's going
yeah.
well with the play and everything until like after the play, and then he's kissing another guy. You're like, wow, that's a twist.
Yeah, I love that scene where they're like, before that, they were like, name us a star.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, this is so teenager bullshit.
It is. It is.
I love them for that. I love it that I don't know if A24 is making fun of it or they're taking it seriously. I'm not sure. And then
I
she kind of like has eyes for Timothy Chalamet who's playing the bass, and then
Yeah,
but she was like, oh, she's with her boyfriend.
yeah.
And then she catches her. I was like, I see
Ah.
what you're doing.
Actually,
Yeah.
interestingly enough, besides saying A24, I do think we should point out that this is Greta Gerwig's directorial debut.
Yeah, yeah.
Who is doing a lot of really wonderful movies. She is also currently doing
Barbie.
in the process of Barbie. Yeah,
Oh,
Barbie.
that's good.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Um,
really exciting.
Like, in the hands of another director doing a Barbie movie, I'd be like, fuck off. But in her hands,
Yeah.
I'm like, that could be interesting.
Yeah, exactly. I do think like she also did Little Women, which was happened 2 years after Lady Bird, and I really do give like Greta Gerwig is I love truly do love with all of my heart. It's interesting how like Saoirse was in two out of her currently three movies. I don't remember
Mhm.
Is she,
her other one,
was
but her
she in
screenplay was
Little
great
Women?
too.
She was.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
It was
She's
her,
Joe.
Emma Watson, and
Emma Watson.
Florence Pugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the last
Lawrence
one.
Pugh falls into a lake that's frozen.
And
Yeah.
Timothée Chalamet
Is
was
that-
in it too.
Is
Man,
that
she
what-
likes these people.
Is that what happened to her? I haven't seen the movie in a while.
Yeah, and she does fall in
Is that how she
to
died?
like she. No. They get her out. Don't worry.
Alright, the other person died. Right. But
I don't
yeah,
remember.
Yeah, neither. I don't. I remember one person died, but that's not that. Going forward with this movie, at least, like her breaking up with Lucas Hedges. I don't remember the character's name for some reason, but that's how she ends up with Kyle. Eventually ends up with Kyle, played by Timothée Chalamet.
I hate Kyle with a passion. Timothée Chalamet, I love you. I love you in Dune, and I love you in what was that movie he was with
The gay
Like-
one.
yeah
Army Hammer.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
guy
yeah,
who's
yeah.
really weird now.
yeah he's
I
a
don't know.
cannibal.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway, yeah.
Call Me by Your Name.
Call me by your name. I love them in there.
Was
He has
also
the
in King.
face.
Yeah.
It's because he has
So-
that face. He
Yeah.
really does. He plays that face way too well. A part of
Yeah.
me is like, dude, you're a little too good at that accent. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird how well you can act. Because if you think of, well, actually no, he did pretty well in Little Women. But I'm trying to think. He plays the same character in Look Up. Don't Look
Mm.
Up. Don't Look Up. Don't Look Up,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
No. He plays the same stereotype character, like
Well,
the.
Fuck. What was it? Fuck the system. I roll my own cigarettes because don't buy
Ah!
a phone because
Yeah.
you'll be tracked. I'm like, I hate you with a burning passion, but I really want to see how this goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, and that was a depressing movie. Anyway,
Um,
I have a big thing, but yeah. Go ahead.
I like them in The King too, and we should do a video on that soon as well.
Oh, I would love to do the.
Yeah, but like at this point in the story, like Lady Bird is hanging out with the popular kids, and she's shunning, her BFF. Like, don't do that. Come on, she's been with
Yeah.
you for a while. Why
We
would you-"
we could never do that.
Yes.
No, we could never do that. It's not like we could be a part of the
No,
popular
because
kids.
yeah, exactly. Like we would ever have a chance, but at the same time, like we kind of value the memories of
Yeah.
each other. Like we can't just toss them away
Yeah,
unless
yeah.
they do
Yeah.
something horrible.
But I feel that's so high school though. That's
Yeah,
so
it
Yeah,
is, it
that's
is.
right.
like
Yeah,
it's so like we
adapt to
can
survive.
do it, but not just adapt, but it's like it's the cloud chasing thing,
yeah,
Yeah.
where
And
she
then the
lies.
part we-
She lies about where she lives.
Yeah, because she's
Uh,
ashamed, and you're like, oh, and it's kind of funny how that karma hits back at her. Like, that's funny.
Yeah,
With the house
exactly. And I
line.
think
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really appreciative talaga of the way the movie managed to do a lot of things very well.
Yeah.
Like there was never a plot point that didn't feel like it was a part like it felt like really like a very it's a very strong teenage experience coming of age movie that didn't feel like it was like where some are trying to really forcefully be funny or like ones that are way too serious for the kind of story they're actually doing versus like stories that are way too pushy with the comedy portion of it. Like I feel like Lady Bird was a really good way of like we had laugh out loud moments, we had cry your heart moments, we had moments that are way too awkward but still awkwardly funny. Like it's really a funny.
Yeah.
It's not that funny, haha. Funny weird.
Funny weird.
Funny weird.
I found myself laughing so much in this movie, especially at the serious parts. Not when, of course, the mom and her. No.
Fighting.
No, those were like, okay, they kept it serious. One of them crying and singing to Dave Matthews, and like some other things that we will get to with Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah.
I found myself laughing throughout this movie. Like, this is so... Like, I know a lot of people, and I know myself being in this movie.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing.
I'm
And I
like,
think that's what really speaks to it. Like,
Yeah.
it really speaks to the genius of, like, Greta Gerwig writing. Because
Yeah.
she didn't say it was exactly her portion, like, everything a part of her life. But I could really tell that she got it. She really saw it, the material, and said, and really perfected it. I could see, like, it felt a lot more polished, even though even if it was a very messy movie in the plot, it was a very polished, like, story overall.
Yeah.
Like, and really the part that, like, broke my heart, besides the actual airport scene, was the one where she asks her mom, Lady Bird asks her mom, how much? And her mom's like, what? How much is it that you raised me? Like,
Yeah.
that
I
hurt
hate
me.
this scene where she was like, "You will not find a job that will recover or like
Let me
would
pay
you
me back.
yeah that you will earn enough to give us back." And I was like, "You don't say that to a kid."
Right?
I
Yeah,
get where you're
exactly.
coming from, but you never say that to your
Yeah.
kid.
Forgot what spurred that on because I think she was after she was suspended.
I think it
for-
was, yeah.
Yeah, when she
Yeah.
got suspended. I love these
Yeah, but
things.
the abortion thing, that's the best part, is that it was just like, I was like, rock on, girl, like,
Yeah,
that's the
exactly.
abortion,
Yeah,
screw
yeah.
that. But like now, but it was so interesting for her. Like, it was such an interesting point that it came from such a light moment that when the seriousness kind of turned, like, if you guys have you guys watched Marriage Story?
Yes.
Like, it's kind of that thing where you didn't realize that scene was gonna happen. Like, that scene,
Yeah.
that long fight scene that was so
Yeah.
painful to watch.
Where-
It's the kind of thing, like, it's a train wreck of, like, I cannot keep my eyes away
Yeah.
because it's
But-
so good. And I was just like, dude, it hurt because I get that completely. Not the you're never gonna get a job that's gonna pay me back, but more of just like the burden that sometimes your parents, especially mothers, would be towards you, where they say, like, do you realize how much it took to raise you? And I'm like, well, I didn't ask to be born, gonna
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
and
Yeah.
I'm like, why am I thankful for being in a life that I hate, or something like that, right? But, like,
Yeah.
it was so relatable because I'm sure we've all had those moments where our parents looked at us and said that, right? Na parang, do you realize how much it is that we pay for your school and da-da-da-da-da-da, and how much it pays for your food and da-da-da-da-da-da?
Yeah.
Joma's face is like, what?
It's like, you okay? Okay.
No, but you get
No,
what
no,
I mean,
get,
right?
yeah.
Speaking of like that whole sequence from the gym to the house, you're just like, oh man.
Yeah, like, you know how, like, you do something stupid and you get in trouble for it, so you're, like, laughing at the start, and then the teacher starts scolding you, and you're
Yeah, but the time
You're
you're like,
like...
why did the mom say such a thing? Oh,
Yeah, that was horrible.
going
Yeah.
back a bit, like when she's in the counselor and they're looking over colleges together, and she's
Yeah!
like, I don't think I can apply to those colleges. She's like, you're
I
damn
would
right.
get
Like,
in.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
where she's like, I don't want to go to Yale. What was that? I don't want to go to Yale because, or I want to go to something like Yale, but not Yale because I don't think I could get in. She's like, you're right, you can't get into Yale. And I'm like,
can't
no!
like the fuck?
Yeah, but she's horrible at math, but for some reason she wants to be part of the math leagues. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
But, like,
Because she has to go look good on paper. That's what the
Yeah,
conclusion
she
Ah,
has
right,
to look
right.
good on paper. That's
Yeah.
what they want. Because
But I do
it's not
like her
here.
attitude though. Like, she is a very like
Go-getter.
go-getter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when she wants to go to this college, she will do everything in her power to get to that college. I was like,
Yeah.
And in fairness, she does get it. She does
Yeah.
get it in the
Yeah.
so
end.
that's which at the end she was like, I don't want this. But we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
honestly, when she gets waitlisted, you're like, damn, finally
Yeah, like,
something good happened.
Let's go. Let's go.
But in the
Yeah.
back of your
Yeah.
head, you're like, your mom said no. Fuck, how do you going to deal with this?
Yeah. And there was a scene which kind of made me like, this is a good scene, where she's working at the cafe,
Yeah.
and then Lucas Hedges' character comes in, and they see each other, and he like runs into her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, you think like, hey, I'm sorry, I was stupid or something like that, or some douchey guy like, no, this guy was pretty much a cry for help. Since it is 2002, in that period, being gay is still like, yeesh, especially in where they live,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
where
It
it's a
was like-
heavy religious area.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's a lot of scrutiny and stuff.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
and you just see the amount of dread in his face, and him
Yeah.
crying, and her immediately like trying to avoid him to immediately accepting him. Like,
Yeah.
oh god, I do not know what he's going through. Again, like a while ago, the main character's story is not happening to her.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Yeah,
happening
it's
to
a-
the people around her.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like kasi another really good part of this movie that I was thinking of, I was like thinking of like, okay, there's a lot of things happening to her, but I also like to say that when it comes to Lady Bird, there were so many things that I was thinking of, but one of the major things that I was thinking of is there's this thing with mothers in both society and the media that portrays them, in that anything, like, we see the dad, and the dad is either like a deadbeat or he's really great, but like moms are so complicated because a lot of the times moms like kind of project onto their daughters as well, because a
Mhm.
lot of the things that they don't get to have in life they give to their daughters. Like, though I was thinking, sorry, I was just thinking about the alcoholic part,
Mm.
because that's what a lot of moms grew up doing. Like, women in general grew up is that there's a lot of burden placed on them by society to be caretakers, to
Yeah.
be very sensitive both for survival as well as like to be like to be anything, like, to be anything less than perfect is still, you're still not perfect. You could be perfect and still to everyone else be sucky ass. And it just made me think like it's so complicated, because I realized like I don't like anybody, but I don't hate anybody either, because I see where I see myself and I'm like, I don't want to look at that. That's so relatable in the
Yeah.
damn, you look at the mirror and society looks back at you or whatever like that. And you're like,
Mm.
ugh. Wala lang. I just thought of it like that. There's so many layers to this movie that we could talk about.
Yeah.
And then I cried. And then I cried.
What do you think of the scene where she and Kyle have the sex, and for her it's her first time, but Kyle lies to her. He's like, no, this is actually.
Oh, that was a dick move. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
dick move. Where he was like, "Oh, I never had sex with anybody before,"
That's so
and
stupid. I hate
and he
that.
and he goes like, "Oh, me either." I was like, "Oh, I guess you both have a mutual understanding, and you both, like respect each other's bodies, and And he completely lies, and he's like, "I actually slept with like 6 or 5 women," and you're like, but you like well, earlier on, you can see that he's a Minuteman.
Yeah.
He's like, "Ugh."
And
He's
like
like, "You're
when
done?
she's
You're done?"
when she's like venting, he goes like, people have died in the Iraq War. You're like, shut the fuck up.
It
Right.
feels, yeah.
I like that line that she says where like sad things can happen, it just doesn't have to be war all the time. I'm like, goddamn right.
Tama, exactly.
I'll give it that. It was smart writing on that side. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she gets picked up by her mom, and to lift her spirits up, they go, I don't know what to call it, seeing houses they couldn't really have on their own.
Yeah, like they go house hunting
Yeah.
and they just like, it's like seeing like what we can have if something good happens within our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's so terribly relatable.
Yeah.
Dude, so much of this movie was just me going, shoot, dude, I don't want to see this. This is exactly like what my mom and I went through.
Mm.
The worst part was that movie came out the same year that a lot of the shit happened, and that movie happened to me. And I was like, oh god.
Oh,
And that's why, like,
okay.
I know that, like, for maybe it's hard for maybe you guys to relate as much,
Oh,
because it is very much written.
We have
as-
no place to be like, I know what she feels like. No.
Right.
I mean, you can relate in the level of like,
Oh,
I get it,
she's
we're
a
just
high
gonna have a
school student.
fight.
In general, a high school student, a teenager, we could relate with that,
Kind of
but
find
like
their way, but like as
daughter
being a
mother dynamic,
Yeah, it's really
we cannot.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just so tough because like something that my mom likes to say when I well lang, she just likes to say in certain contexts when we're talking deep stuff. She always says like, oh, don't forget that your parents are also first time parents in this life. They only ever have this one chance. And I was like, ah. And I was like, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you think about it, yeah, of course your parents will make mistakes. It's a very, because they're going through life the first time. It's their first time at life too.
It's our only chance.
Yeah, exactly. And like, of course, it's not like you have like thousands of years of experience to
Like, you think
understand what
that
it's
was
like to be a
before.
parent. Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, and I completely see this dynamic between, like, I'm glad that Ladybird, like, I know that Ladybird, the name can also come off as something very shallow and haha. But it's also like I get where it kind of comes from in that it is her giving herself her name, but I think her giving herself that name and then going back to the name that her mom gave
Christine.
her is really what felt really kind of like truly a growth moment, and like
Yeah.
it's a moment where you felt like that's great. You know, you really like said she said, you know what? You know, screw it. I am my mother's daughter. It feels like she said that without saying it. It's like I am my mother's daughter and I'm okay with it. I will live with it and it is who I am.
Yeah.
Like fuck these random this name.
Yeah.
Fuck
Yeah,
being deep.
it is a very bittersweet and like road going towards the end after Timothy Chalamet.
I,
Ah!
I do like that she gets to, you know, make amends with her best friend.
Yeah.
She's like, you know what, I want to go to prom. Can you please just drop
Yeah,
me in
I
my
like
friend's
that
house?
too.
And
Yeah.
like,
Did you see where her and her friend were dancing? The nun was like,
yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
fuck it, they're graduating, it's fine.
yeah.
Dude, I have a moment. That moment made me think of a very specific thing that happened to people that we know. People that we know in a certain, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like
The
childhood school.
like leave 6 inches for Jesus.
Yeah, but even worse because it's two girls.
Yeah.
You guys might know the instance where I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Anyway, she does graduate, and they do celebrate, and like, Lucas Hedges comes up to the family. He's like, "Hey, what about the
Hey,
wait
congrats
list?"
to ano.
And then
Yeah,
Dad's just
congrats
like,
on the
yeah.
wait list. And
Oh,
you're like,
fuck.
oh shoot, dude.
Fuck. Damn it.
like the dad's reaction of just being like, "Oh fuck."
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
And like the automatic thought of like, are you guys getting a divorce? Because the dad put a lot of money into a place where the wife
Mom
had
had no idea.
Don't
Yeah.
worry, we don't have
And I
enough
get
money
it.
to.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Enzo.
Yeah.
No, but I get it though. Like, where are we going with this? I'll just end the point. Sorry, I get it where the mom was going, where she
Yeah.
got mad that that you know because imagine like it's the same way that we think like, oh, why is the mom who should be the #1 cheerleader of her own daughter doing that? And it's the same where it's like her husband and her kid lied to her for a very prolonged period of time. And only for her to find out through somebody else, not even through them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Parang
it's a bit of a backstab. Or it's
Yeah,
very a
beautiful.
backstab. Very much a
Beautiful.
backstab.
Tama, Joma. But
You're
sorry,
a
go
very
ahead,
patient
Enzo.
person if you think that's a bit of a.
I'm sorry. I haven't been a parent yet.
I hear that. Maybe
Not that I
anytime
know of.
soon. Oh! Ah!
No, but I do like her like stepbrother and his girlfriend.
Hmm.
Like I love those characters a lot where he's
Yeah.
trying to find a job and the girlfriend very supportive.
Yeah.
Like very like words of wisdom that Lady Bird has to hear. Like, hey, your mom's a rock star because she took me in when my family didn't.
Tama, tama.
Yeah.
And I was like,
And she.
No, tama.
oh, okay. No, why did you go like this?
No, because I was like, tama.
Ah, okay, gotcha. Sorry.
She points out like your mom was very sad that you didn't even celebrate Thanksgiving with us. You decided to spend
Mm.
the day with Lucas Hedges' family. You're like, you can do that? Like Americans can do that, and you can just be like, I don't know if it's an American thing or a Philippine thing, where he's like, I'm gonna go away without saying anything. Goodbye.
No, you
No,
can,
you don't do
oh,
that though.
yeah,
You don't do that. You don't do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
You
Because
ask
she
for
did.
permission from your family.
She just went up and left like that's odd. But
Yeah.
there is a prolonged period where her and her mom don't talk, and she's packing up, and her mom's trying to find the right words. And then
And then she doesn't end up, right? Like saying anything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
No.
I hated that moment because, you know, it's the kind of, like, at that point in the movie, I was screaming at the screen, like, to say something, like, dude, I could think of, like, I hate
Like
it, dude. I'm
when-
bringing out mommy issues in here, but the thing that I could, like, say, like, I'm, like, telling her in my head telepathically, like, hear the things that your daughter wants to hear from you.
Yeah.
You know, but she doesn't say anything because she doesn't know.
Up
But yeah,
yeah.
go ahead, Enzo.
up until the point, like she gets dropped off, she's like, "Thank you." She's like, "You're welcome." Bye. You're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
I guess you're not talking.
No,
so-
but like so like I'll just drive around because parking's expensive here.
Yeah.
And as she drives around, she's already inside. She can't go in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she like on the drive there, she was like tearing up, and I was like, "Oh, this is a really
Yeah,
good
that got
scene.
me. That got
This
me
is
so
yeah."
bad.
I was like, I feel this. Like,
Yeah.
damn.
And then
Yeah, that was such a tough scene. That really was, with all of my heart.
I'll give it to a Laurie Metcalf. Like, Jesus Christ, that was a good scene.
yeah.
Was there anything that you guys? I mean, we're raving about the movie, but was there anything that you guys didn't really like about the movie?
A lot.
The lack of relatability, because I'm like, this really isn't for me, I guess.
Yeah, for me as well. Like, it had my eyes rolling. Like, I related to the point where I was like, I met people like these. It's not I was this person.
Yeah.
That is my own opinion. Where like Timothy Chalamet, I hate people like that. Where
I
they're
mean,
like,
yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I'm
Again,
gonna say,
I roll
like,
my own cigarettes. Reads the book and he's like away from the crowd, but he's still part of that crowd. I'm like,
I hate that so
fuck off.
much, dude. I know people. I think I know somebody that we all know that did that when we were younger.
I'm thinking of someone, but I'll ask you.
No,
off
we'll say it
camera.
after the fact. We'll
Yeah.
say it after the fact.
Yeah, but and like we get the good religious boy, we get the girl who thinks she's a main character, which we have experienced. All three of
Oh,
us.
yeah.
We
A lot
have
of
known
times.
that person.
Yeah.
We have
I
known
mean, I
that
thought
person.
I was for a while too. Not gonna lie.
No, not person.
I mean, yeah. Anyway, and yeah, we've known the popular kids. Like for me, I couldn't inject myself in here because these were the people I looked at and just examined and be like, I don't ever want to be any of you. Yeah.
And the ending is profound too, because as you mentioned, she.
Sorry to sound very pretentious.
No, it's okay.
It's fine.
I mean, I sometimes think in these reviews that I'm pretentious when I talk about like the deeper stuff. A part of me's like, dude, did I sound weird? Like with the
Nah, it's extra. It's extra information and like, hey, probably me and Angela could have never, like,
I
related
mean,
to this.
what are you gonna do? You're not a mother and a daughter. I'd be surprised.
Exactly. So why are you screaming at me? I'm appreciating your presence.
But yeah, the ending is profound because as you mentioned, like she calls herself, was it Christine?
Christine.
Yeah.
And she goes to college. She finally like sees like I'm not main character Kun, and like
She goes back to Sacramento.
yeah, she throws up with the guy she like almost hooked up with.
Yeah.
Goes to the hospital, wakes up, and like
From
she
binge
sees that
drinking, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
a binge
yeah.
drinking thing.
she sees like a mother and child together, and like what a mom would do just to be like, you know, to
And she
take
was
care of the child.
Yeah, and she was in front of a church too, which is kind of major. For what it was
Yeah.
worth, the she may not have been religious, but for what it was worth, her time in the Catholic church church was quite relevant. I'd like to think.
Yeah.
And she goes to church, and she like, oh, I got a call. Hey, Dad, this is mostly for Mom, and you gotta love it that the dad, from all the crumpled paper that the mom was trying to write a letter on,
Yeah.
he got them all and just like
He's just like, what's up?
put it in her
Yellow
bag.
pad.
Yeah. And it was her just trying to make up and like make amends.
Yeah.
The mom, I mean, the mom.
Yeah,
And she just calls her, and she's like, "I love you," and this is your daughter, Christine. And
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, okay." And then she drives back to Sacramento, and you see the beautiful views, the nice neighborhoods. I was like, "Yeah, why did you want to leave this place?"
No, but hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out.
Yeah.
Hear me out. I remember. I wanted to actually say that another major part of this movie that I did not think about was actually the fact that like Sacramento was a very like it felt like a character in and of itself with
Yeah.
how
Mm.
often she talked about it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I thought about it because I related to that idea of like I didn't know what I missed until I left it. Because that was my experience going to the States and realizing like I don't like living here as much as I thought I would, you know? Like it's the kind of thing, right? Because growing up, all of us in the time that we were growing up at, it was like the goal is to go abroad, right?
Yeah.
Like the golden dream of every Filipino is to make it abroad, is to go abroad, period. And like being there, it you know, I had that feeling too. It was like being there and realizing like, dude, my home is my home for a reason,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And
Like I
there's a lot
miss,
to appreciate it
Yeah.
for.
and I would say, like, for sure her situation, like where she wants to go to New York when her place is completely fine and beautiful and it's nice to live. I could say the same with like some Japanese people. Like, right, some Japanese people want to leave Japan and like go to the US or something. When to us, we're like, why do you want to leave Japan? It's such a beautiful place.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess it's kind of like the same thing
Yeah,
with
exactly.
Lady Bird and that kind of situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really makes you think like, wow, now that I think about it, Sacramento is like kind of a character in and of itself. I mean, it's not like the sets weren't like it was really a character. For me, this is definitely a character-driven movie. But for what it was worth, the context in which it was like the setting was definitely something second. So I feel like it was characters, setting, and then story second.
Story.
Because all the characters were the driving points. There was nothing that was. I feel like nothing majorly external, like nothing externally really happened to them that they didn't organically do on their own as characters. Like all of the major plot points occurred because other characters were introduced or other characters were interacting with others, and I like that. I realized like, oh, this is a really good way to watch a movie that isn't driven by a major plot point of A to B. It's just here's the setting and then have all of these characters go about it, and each scene and plot point is driven by them, and I really like that. I really realized I like that.
Okay.
Like this, talking about this movie and like me remembering when I watched it, like just reminds me of the conversation me, Jomer, and Hazel had in The Godfather 2, where people are like, "This is the greatest movie ever," and I remember the word of mouth being like, "Such a good movie," and then when you watch, you're like, "I liked it." Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to be honest, like I the one thing I really really hated about like Lady Bird, I get everything.
Really,
You know, like, yeah, like I really didn't like about her is that she kept saying howdy a lot.
what?
Yeah, she kept saying howdy a lot.
And dear Edo, do you remember Java? What the fuck are you?
Howdy.
Yeah, howdy's nuts in your mouth, bitch.
Wait, what were we talking about with the Godfather before we remove the point? Godfather what?
No, there are movies that you hear like this the best, and you can't really be like, yeah, I think it's the best too. But there's some movies you're like, either people say it's bad or it's kind of meh, but to you you're like, I really like this movie.
So which one is this? So where is Lady Bird in this one? I'm
Well,
just
those when
wondering.
we get to the ratings.
Yeah.
Ah, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. It's like, what? Where is
yeah,
the point?
thank you for the
The howdy
segue.
took me out of it.
Thank you for the segue, Jomer. But I'll give this a 7.
A 7.
I really like this. I like this movie. The characters are good, and the story is good. Like again, it's just the relatability, being like, I'm not the daughter, and I can't relate the same way Lady Bird relates to her mom. I'm just a guy, unfortunately.
But right, you
Yeah.
both, I'm sure, just for the sake of anybody that might comment this, you do see the merit in what this movie
Yeah.
does for the right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, baka someone will jump on it, and I'll just be like, wait, I gotta save these boys right now.
Thank you. Yeah.
Nah,
I wanna help y'all.
I'll be a little bit close to that score, so like 6.5.
Okay.
Because this movie, for me, it had its good moments. Like, legit, I was like, damn, it's A24. There will be these really deep moments. And there will be moments where, like, did they do this on purpose? I don't know. But a lot of the times, I found myself like, this is so cringe. Like, at some points, you would see me, like, while I'm watching this movie, I'll be like this. Like, I have my phone, I'm like, oh
my
God, I can't
I
stand
agree with
looking at this
that.
scene. It's not that because I relate with it, it's just too cringy. Because
No, I
it is
get
teenager
that.
shit. Yeah. And I can't relate to this movie, unlike how, Nina can. And yeah, that's just more of a personal opinion. But the story was very complex and I liked it. But it is a type of movie where I will never watch again. I'm sorry. I will never pick
That's
this movie
fine.
back up.
That's valid.
And-
That's valid.
Yeah, they did an amazing job. But for me, Lady Bird was a tad bit annoying, but she grew up.
Yeah.
The mom,
Reminds me of something
horrible
like-
person, but amazing performance. The dad, he's just great overall. Horrible
Tama,
CEO.
Just
And
like, happy
Timothy
person.
Chalamet, man, is just handsome, but I want to bitch slap this character so bad.
How about
Not the
Lucas
bitch
Hedges?
slap.
Lucas Hedges was just great.
Yeah.
He was just great. But yeah, like even her best friend, like damn, she did a really good job. But a lot of the times, yes, this is a very cringy movie, in my opinion. So it is a 6.5. How about you, Nina?
For me, I will give this thank you for taking your time, guys, because I did have to think about this. I will give this probably a 9.
And 9.
Okay,
No, 8.5. I'll give it 8.5 because
fair enough.
it was a good sorry, that was. It is a good mother-daughter film. It is a good coming-of-age film. It is one of my better, more favored ones out of a lot of what I see. One, because yes, it is relatable to me. For the first time in a long-ass time, I finally related to something. But a part of my biggest thing is that when you said A24, the second movie that I was thinking of that did mother-daughter relationships to the perfect T for me
I think I know.
was Everything Everywhere All at Once. And that's a perfect. And you guys, I wasn't there for your review because I watched it when it came to cinemas. You guys watched it before it did here.
Yep.
So I was waiting. That's why I couldn't join you. I wanted to, but y'all were doing it ahead of me, so I said to go whatever because I needed to watch it in the big screen.
Yeah.
Because Everything Everywhere All at Once is a perfect movie to me. It is my second perfect movie in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all
It's
did.
my 1 out of 2.
Yeah, it's my favorite A24 movie.
Yeah, we gave it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it is my only, like, for me, you guys know how hard it is for me to give perfect movies. So like perfect movies to me. So in comparison to it, I said, yeah, it kind of pales, but I think it does what it needed. I always say this in every review that's a good movie. It does what it needed to do, and I absolutely give it to Greta Gerwig in that I believe her writing is superb. A little too superb at times with Joma when I agree with Joma in the I'm like, is it really a good movie if I can't look at the screen?
Yeah, right.
It's like, is it a really good movie if I don't want to hear it? So I mean, it is to a certain extent, but it's the kind of uncomfortable that's like, yeah, I have to dock it points. And another point that I have to say, it's a little too white for me. It's a little too white for me.
Like, these people are doing shit that we can never do.
Yeah, exactly. Like I will see it as when it comes to a lot of things in media, another layer to it is the fact that it's a very much majority, if not all white cast, major cast. And it's not something that I mean, I didn't dock points because they're all white. There are other movies that I do, like with white characters, but like I'm just saying that this is a little bit of the I agree. It relates to me until that point of like, okay, I don't really think it's my movie though. Like, it's probably someone else's movie completely. It's their perfect. But 8.5 is my comfortable zone of like, okay, this is as good as it's getting for me. But yeah, sorry guys. I hope that's not offensive to anybody for some reason. It's just the way that I view it. I mean, the way that, random people aren't gonna say.
It's called an opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though, no, I'm not gonna finish that line.
But it's just a little too on the white unseasoned side for me. If you guys get me. Like, the spice was there, but not the kind of spice that has flavor. I mean, it was a good movie though. It was a good movie.
Like, that's why the come of age movie I like from A24 more is Waves. I thought that kind of hit harder.
I would love to do a review on Waves.
Yeah. But yeah, is there anything else you want to say about this movie?
I think we pretty much hit everything.
Also, A24 has been on a roll as of recent with Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Northman. You're like,
well, they're breaking boundaries when it came
yeah.
to like storytelling. So you got to give it up to them.
I think they're picking. I'm glad because we finally have a major studio. Not finally, as if others weren't, but we have a major studio that's finally taking up one, original stories, and two, very good original stories from people that may not have had the chance before. Like, Minari was great. Uncut Gems! Yo, Uncut Gems!
Joe has an opinion on that.
Uncut Gems. I mean, they did X, which I did want to watch, and then they have a second one coming out called Pearl, which has Mia Goth in it. If you guys have not seen Mia Goth, chef's kiss of an amazing actress.
I don't think
Y'all got it. I'm just calling it now. Everybody keep your eyes on Mia Goth. Keep your eyes on her, guys. She is her and Jenna Ortega, absolutely on the rise. Keep an eye on them, everybody.
And-
Incredibly talented.
And like, I know we're called geeks and degenerates, but like, it's nice seeing movies like Everything Ever all at once make like $1 billion. It's not.
$1 billion felt. I love that.
It's not, you know, a comic book movie like that, and Top Gun Maverick. Or like, not that I agree with the Scorsese's of the world, but like, it's nice to see the other guys make it on top too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was Top Gun Maverick good? I haven't watched that actually.
It
I haven't
Oh.
gotten
is
around to
so
it.
good.
That was a 10 out of 10 for me.
I don't know,
Anyway.
dude. No. I will leave
Yeah.
that opinion for another day.
Okay.
At another
Let's
time.
let's wrap
Yeah.
this up.
But yeah,
Anyway,
that's been-
bye-bye.
No, wait,
So-
no.
so-
Bye. Peace out. I'm leaving.
That's been our
Okay.
video on Ladybird. If you want to see more of us on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and ding the bell icon to get notified of when we upload next one.
I'm sorry, but I kind of misheard you. You kind of said Ladyboy. It's a Ladybird.
I said Ladybird. Yeah.
Or- okay.
You guys are really
You,
Ladybird.
you could cut that out. Sorry, my bad.
That's fine. If you want to hear us on the go, we have a Spotify podcast. If you want to see us react to trailers or stream video games, we have a Facebook page at facebook.com/Geeks and Degenerates. We also have we live our greatest moments on TikTok. If you want to hear me talk about dinosaurs or Jomer talk about Spidey stuff, that's where you can.
Or
find
see Enzo have a stroke.
it.
So we will-
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But individually, you can find me at Gandalf995 on IG and Twitter, and you can find us with our friends at Slurrp streaming when we do collabs. How about you guys?
Yeah, you can find me at JomGOM on Instagram. It is my art account. How about you, Nina?
You guys can find me on Nina. I finally have a Twitter that isn't hacked. I have a Twitter that finally isn't hacked anymore.
That's great.
I also do some TikToks. I think it's also Nina. I forget, but I'll probably want to
Yeah,
do
we'll
more.
leave it down in the description.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
probably want to do more TikTok content for G&D that's not for my personal. So, yeah!
Yeah.
Woo! So fun to be back. So happy to be back, everybody.
Yeah, it's nice to have you here again, Jesus.
Yeah. And sticking to the theme of geeks and degenerates, we are coming back to comic book movies in the next lineup, so stay tuned for that. But for this lineup and this video at least, that's all the time we have. We'll see you on the next one. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.